Quran is from the Arabic word Quran. So Quran is not even an Arabic word. So even if Muslims say it's Arabic, it's not. It's Syriac. It comes from Syriac language.
Quite a bit.
It's Qaryono, actually. Or Qaryana, it depends if the West or the East. So Qaryono, Qaryana. Qaryono or Qaryana means a scriptures, a liturgy. So when in the early days they go to church and they read certain readings, a reading is called Qaryono, Quran. So Muhammad or whoever compiled the Quran used that word, a liturgy, to name this book. We read also in history when they gathered the book, they didn't find a name for it. Actually, some sources say they tried to name it a gospel. And so they say Mushaf. Now we say Mushaf. Mushaf is a book. Sahifa is anything written, we can call it Sahifa. This is Sahifa, for example. So Mushaf is a book, that the gathering of pages. So it's a book. Mushaf is a book. Quran is this book. It's written in Arabic, classical Arabic, very old. It's like reading Shakespeare now, or even worse. So we don't understand most of it. If you go to mosques or like go to the street and ask Muslims in Morocco or Tunisia or Egypt, you ask them some basic words in the Quran, they would not know the meaning. A single verse in the Quran, I never read in the commentaries, there are differences about this verse. Until now, I never found one that there is a total agreement about the meaning of that verse.
And that
yes, and it's 114 chapters. And it starts with the longest to the shortest, kind of.
very strange way to arrange your...
Exactly. No chronology. And sometimes it jumps from one topic to another. It's talking about Moses now. Suddenly Noah, suddenly Jesus, suddenly about the polytheists at Muhammad's time, suddenly about how heaven proves the existence of God, and you see no link between topics. It's not like the Bible, you read Genesis and then you expect what's coming next and you follow the process. In the Quran, there is no chronology, there is no logic. And that's because of the way how it was written. Muhammad had scribes around him. So each time he gets this trance and he starts like, I think for me it's an epilepsy, we can talk about it.
Certainly.
Then after a while he wakes up and he says, hey, write this verse, it came to me. And they start writing, then they collected them later. So of course, they didn't put them in chronology, so they just like kind of gathered them together and just compiled them. And they started naming the chapters. Oh, put that in the chapter that talks about the cow. So now we have a chapter of the cow. Oh, put that in the chapter that talks about Mary. And then we have the chapter of Mary. And then, oh yeah, put that in the chapter of Al Imran or Al Ma'idah, the table. So they put it in the table. And that's why it's like a chaos. It's just a bunch of verses gathered together, put in this book. And when you read it, you get really confused. One of the problems is the Quran doesn't give you even the background of certain verses. So we have to dig somewhere else to understand why he said this, for whom, and what's the topic here exactly. For example, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنْ ذِي الْقَرْنَيْنِ. They ask you about ذِي الْقَرْنَيْنِ. Who?
Yeah.
Who asked? Why? So you don't understand. You have to go to commentaries. They say some Jews, some polytheists, like different interpretations. And that started from the beginning of the Quran. You of course, you studied the first revelation, how it came to Muhammad. He told us he was in a cave, and suddenly the angel came to him and said, read, read. And then the first chapter in the Quran started, which is 96. But Who knows exactly? Because even that story, when we dig, at the beginning they said it was a dream. And then they changed it through history. Now it's a fact. It's not just a dream. It happened literally. They believe it happened as is. We don't know exactly, and that's why the Quran is just a collection. So that 96 is not even, it should be the first one. Story of Moses, you will not find it in one chapter. You have to just collect verses from here and there, and then you have the story of Moses. And some of them are repeated literally the same. And if you want to study the life of Jesus, you need to gather from here and there and here and there, and then you collect. It's not like the Gospels. It starts with the birth and then ends with the crucifixion and the resurrection. No, it's not like that. You just go, it's scattered all over the Quran. The Quran is not sufficient for a Muslim. The Quran always has to have something with it. It's not like the Bible. You can't read the Bible and it's sufficient for a Christian. For the Quran, you will not understand even some verses, what they are saying, the meaning, unless you have the background and have other commentaries that will help you. For example, when it talks about Zayd divorcing his wife. Who's Zayd? Mm-hmm. What's the relationship with Muhammad? And we don't know. So you need to dig somewhere else. Or like when it mentions Luqman, we don't know.
Yeah,
who's Luqman? Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Who's Dhul Qarnayn? Who's this? So you need to dig. And the problem when you go to commentaries, they don't have one opinion, sir. Many times, as I said, so they have different versions. So you're just... it's a very difficult task, actually. Supposedly, God revelation through the angel Gabriel from God, Allah himself. It's his word, letter for letter, word for word. He had no hand in it. He was just a receiving vessel, like he receives it, and then he says it. And it's written in Arabic. You can't pray in other language. They say it can't be even translated. They say the translation of the meanings of the Quran. God will not accept your prayer unless you do it in Arabic, because it's the holy language. And if you want to get really the right meaning, you have to study it in Arabic. That's what they say. Because even translation, it picks one side or one background or one commentary, and it follows it.